Hello, and welcome to our May version of our GDTA Spotlight session. Global Design Thinking Alliance is welcoming all of you to our session here together with our friends from Ecuador. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, or whatever. Whoever you are, I think we have guests from all around the world, which is fabulous. We have about 40 people here in the call, and our monthly spotlight session of the Global Design Thinking Alliance is featuring always or most of the time members of the Global Design Thinking Alliance, the GDTA. We have 32 members now in 22 countries and 5 continents. I'm really happy about that. And last month in April, we had Linda Hickman, and I think she's in the call as well. So we were at London in England. Today we are in Ecuador, and we have the guests who actually had to get up very early. It's about 9 o'clock there in the morning, and temperatures are higher than here in Germany, where I'm located. I'm in Berlin right now. Steffi's taking care of all the background activities from Potsdam. She's in Potsdam right now, and I'm really happy to welcome all of you. And our agenda for today is, so we discussed up front that it would be very interesting for us to learn from I3 Lab of the ESPOL University in Ecuador, how they are integrating design thinking in their curriculum and actually encouraging all the freshmen to become early bird design thinkers, you could probably say, maybe even going a step further. And I'm really happy to welcome 3 speakers today. And you might know, for all of you who have been here several times already, we have about 35, 40 minutes. Since we have 3 speakers, we're probably a little bit more than 30 minutes of speaking time. And then we have on purpose an open Zoom call during the presentation of our 3 guest speakers here. I would ask all of you to switch off the video, prepare some questions already, maybe put it in the chat or prepare it later. After the presentation, we all switch on our video and audio and have a chat, and it's open for Q&A. And we do this for 60 minutes. So at sharp 5 o'clock our time here, 10 o'clock in Ecuador, we'll kind of stop the recording. We always record for those who have not the chance to participate here live, but we stop the recording, and I hope we have some more minutes if there is interest in discussing a little bit more, like a fireside chat without recording. We can do that. So, but now I would like to welcome our 3 guest speakers from ESPOL University, from the I3 Lab at ESPOL in Ecuador. And our first speaker will be Guido Caicedo, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. I'm improving on that. And he is a professor of engineering and entrepreneurship at ESPOL. And he will be followed by Guido, and he will be followed by, I think it's Isabel Alcívar. She will be the second speaker, and she is improving the work systems. She's a professor for industrial engineering, and also active at the I3 Lab at ESPOL. And our third speaker will be Sharon Guamán, and she's actually, are you actually in Ecuador, or are you in England, or in Belgium right now? You're in Belgium probably. So you have the...
In Ecuador. I'm back in Ecuador now. Yes. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, back in Ecuador. Yeah, so great to have you here. And so let's give a warm welcome to Guido Caicedo, and he will open the talk here. Please open the stage, Guido, the stage is yours. Thanks for being here.
Super. Thank you, Uli. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. And I'm going to start just to be to put a good use of my time. So we are at ESPOL, and I'm going to introduce a little bit the university so you can get an idea of what we have here. We are a university about 10,000 students. Most of the degrees are in STEM, and mainly engineering, but we have other degrees like economics and tourism and other things. And we are located in Guayaquil in Ecuador, and we are like a university that is pushing for doing more research, and we've been working our way up in the rankings. So I'm working very hard on that. So these are a few pictures of our campus, which is really beautiful in the middle of the national park. So you're all welcome to visit whenever you stop by in Ecuador. Just let us know if you want to come. We'll be happy to have you. I'm the executive director of I3 Lab, which is the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Center at ESPOL. We work for the whole university, and we try to work also in our ecosystem in Guayaquil and also in Ecuador. And we have 3 areas. And the one that brings us here is the education area in I3 Lab. We do a lot of activities to push for entrepreneurship and design thinking within the university. So I'll start with how design thinking began at ESPOL. Since I'm the oldest of the 3 speakers, that's my part. So I'm gonna try to be not take too long for on explaining this. So right now we are as I3 Lab, we are in charge of coordinating 2 courses for the whole university, which are analysis and problem solving, one which is really design thinking. I'm gonna tell you why the name, and the other one is entrepreneurship and innovation. But we also help in the methodologies for other courses that we call Analysis and Problem Solving 2 and the Capstone Project. So we've been pushing for using design thinking in the Capstone courses. So in 2015, it was a different reality then. We were only teaching the Entrepreneurship and Innovation course. And we already realized that we had a few problems with the skills of the students. We detected that we needed more connection from them with industry, and also to increase their awareness of real problems. And also, of course, it's always needed working on their soft skills. So we got an opportunity in 2016 because the university entered a curricular reform, and the president at that time, he was very adamant on having a problem solving course for all the students that were studying engineering. So I was part of the team that was trying to do that, and but in his mind, what we wanted was something like the traditional problem solving in engineering, which is a lot of little tools like Pareto, flow diagrams and stuff like that. And we thought that that was going to be another theoretical course with a lot of tools that weren't really applied in real context. So we didn't want that. So kind of secretly we started to working on design thinking as a way of working problem solving, and not only for engineers but for the whole university. So we really wanted to for the students to work on real problems, connect with the society and industry. We wanted multidisciplinarity, we wanted soft skills, and we wanted value creation, a lot of things. And we thought that design thinking was the best vehicle for achieving that. So we made our proposal to the university, and we got that approved. And since then, we started the course. So at the beginning, it was very tough because we didn't have anyone expert on design thinking. So how do you teach a course which was going to be for like 1,000 students without having any teacher expert on that or having a degree on that? So we started workshops for faculty, and we did a pilot with 2 groups to test the methodology. We designed the course and we tested the course with 2 groups, got some feedback, and while we were getting the feedback, we hired an academic but also a practitioner that was working at pain medicine and the hospital there. She was part of the innovation team there, but she also ran before the product design degree at Penn University. So was great. We wanted to have that connection with somebody that was already applying design thinking in the industry. So it was very, very successful. We had very enthusiastic group of people at the beginning, and so with that group we started the next pilot, having 10 groups of students. And in some sense, we started like a design thinking movement. It fired up within the faculty at the university. So now what we have is our course been running for a few years, and it's a compulsory first semester course. I remember a professor told me once that, "Are you crazy? You're gonna send these students to work outside, working with NGOs and or maybe small organizations, but they are just too young." And I told her, let us try. If it doesn't work, when we can always change. But it did work, and the course is 3 hours per week. The students work in teams, like 5 to 6 teams of 5 to 6 students each. We got like 55 group courses per year, and the projects are based on real problems given usually by NGOs or small business, sometimes even bigger companies, and most activities and evaluations have a hands-on approach. So I'm gonna stop there. That's gonna be my part of the presentation. So now Isabel is going to continue. Thank you all.
Hi there, everybody. Good morning. Thank you for inviting us. Now that Guido has made the introduction to what the story behind our design thinking course is at ESPOL, we're going to be zooming into our class. And in order to do so, I want to divide our course in 3 timestamps throughout the semester. So we have a period of several weeks before the semester starts, then some other weeks during the semester, and then by the end of the semester, in each of these timestamps, we do different kind of activities. So right before we kick off with the semester, around 2 to 5 weeks, depending on which semester during the year we're talking about, we train our trainers. So before the first semester of each year, we roll out a course of design thinking for our trainers. This course is open to all faculty at ESPOL, and it's mandatory for those faculty that are teaching the analysis and problem solving course. Throughout the years, since 2016, we have been rolling out these design thinking workshops, and we have been training more than 300 faculty since 2016, up to the numbers from last year, 2022. But this is not only what we want them to know, we also want to promote entrepreneurial mindset and value creation. So we also educate them on that. And since 2018, we have been training more than 100 faculty on these topics. This is a way in which we make sure that our faculty is actually training to what we want them to transmit the students throughout the semester at the analysis and problem solving course. And one part that it's important to finish up before kicking off the semester is going into sponsor hunting. This is for our design thinking faculty. So since our students are learning by analyzing a real problem, it's imperative that we as faculty go in the search of real problems with sponsors. These sponsors have a direct contact not only with the teacher, but also with students throughout the semester. And throughout the years, we have been working with more than 200 organizations. Mostly of them have been NGOs, but we also work with private institutions. And we have been framing more than 200 how might we questions. That's how we frame the problems for our students. And just to give you some examples here, it's one of them. We have the startup Irma, which is an Ecuadorian startup. We once worked with them into how might we design different marketing strategies to help them being known in society. And also another example is one that we work with an NGO in order to know how might we help parents that have Asperger children in their growth. And then that's like the main activities that happen before the semester starts. It's accompanied with several meetings with the faculty team so that we are all on the same page before the semester starts. During the 14 weeks of classes, that's how much our semester is designed. We have our students in an active environment in their classrooms. This is just one example of how our classrooms look like. And here we have 3 moments of classes that are very important for us to fulfill our objectives for our class. So before the class starts, students have to complete several activities in which they are reviewing concepts. And then after class, they are also given some assignments they have to complete in order to continue the development of their class project. During class, we promote the learning by doing philosophy. So we leave most of the time for teamwork for our students. But that doesn't mean that that's the only thing that we do during class. We usually start with a warm-up activity until everybody gets into the class. During the first 5 minutes of class, we start off then with a recap of the concepts that are going to be used during the class time. We give them an example of application from previous projects that have been done during class and also from other projects that we have been working on as faculty. Then we leave around 30 to 40 minutes for teamwork so that they can apply the different concepts that we have been going through during class. Last part of the class from this 90-minute class, we leave space so that we can socialize what the teams have been working on and we can give additional feedback. And then lastly, we end up our class with a wrap up of what we have been covering and explaining what the assignments are to be completed after class. We get the help of 3 main platforms for our class. One of them is our LMS system, which is Aula Virtual, very similar to Canvas. And here's where students get to know what submissions they have to do, and they also make the submissions themselves. And that's where they see their grading also. We use Microsoft Teams as the platform as an official communication channel between the teams and the faculty, and also among team members. That's where they centralize their work and the different files that they have to work on during our class. And lastly, another platform that we use is Teammates, in which we get to give feedback about teamwork to our students, and also among the team, they also give feedback to each other. So once the semester is getting into an end, during the 2 to 3 weeks period of time, we make sure that we get some feedback from some of the main actors that we have, which are the students and sponsors. So we roll out for several days, an exit survey, one for sponsors, one for students. And in these exit surveys, what we do is gather information regarding what the learning experience was for students, and also what the experience was for sponsors of working with students, and what opportunities we can have to improve. This is part of our continuous improvement process in the class, which we take very seriously. And then all those opportunities that we have from this feedback, we then go into the weeks before the next semester so that we can go into those improvements and implement them in our different action plans. So one last thing that I want to share with you, it's a contest that we roll out every 2 years since 2018 for students. And this is the DThinkers contest, and it's our way to take projects outside of the classroom so that not only sponsors or students or the teacher knows about the project, but also a different audience in the university and also other invitees to our Innovation Week event that we take place during the last months of the years. So in the DThinkers contest, what we have is the best projects that want to present during this competition get a platform in which they can show off what they have been doing, and prizes go to the 3 best projects based on the quality of their work, but also their quality of presentation. This is a way in which we complete the circle in which we started with the how might we, and then we continue with socializing with society, what we have been working on in order to provide value to the world itself. All this effort is been having some fruits. Along the years, we have been improving our course material, resources, how we have the flow our classes. And one important question that we had was whether it was worth it to have all this effort in our classes. And that answer, it's gonna be on Sharon's side. She's gonna share with you whether these efforts are working or not. So I'll leave it to you, Sharon.
Okay, thank you, Isabel. And yes, I'm closing this presentation because, as Isabel said, we had this question: does it work? I mean, we had this evidence from what we was looking through the semesters, but we wanted to go deep. And then I'm going to talk about the evidence from research that we have carried out at I3 Lab about it. And I want to do it in a more in a chronological way, in some sense. So I would like to start with this first study that it's basically a scoping review, because we wanted to know what was the state of the art regarding the application of design thinking in higher education. Basically, this paper had an early version in 2018. And this latest version was recently published by the end of 2022. And it gave us like the light to what we have to do back then. So in this, I will talk about this latest, the most recent or most updated version. And we made this scoping review from 2008 to mid-2022. And we found 2,853 papers, but after applying inclusion and exclusion criteria, we ended up with 172 studies. So I'm going to jump directly to the discussion because, as you know, this is not specifically a research presentation, but I want to go to the specific points. So first, our first conclusion in this paper was that actually there is not like an agreed definition of design thinking. So based on the literature review, we propose like this definition that catches all this definition that we found in the literature, which is design thinking is a way of working and thinking that goes beyond the realm of pure design. It is used to solve complex problems by using the methods and mindsets that are used with designers, but in different contexts. It uses a human-centered and prototype-driven skills, especially when we are talking in higher educational settings. Next finding in this scoping review was that there is a variety of tools, techniques, and models used to support design thinking. And of course, we had our model that we are using at ESPOL. So we had also a model that is based on models now. This third one was very interesting for us, and actually that led us for the future research, what are the main educational settings, which was this 3: creativity, carried out 3 empirical study, a first pilot study to try to assess these 3 skills, and then 2 large studies, one focused on problem solving and creativity, and the other one focused on teamwork. So, and here also I think it is important to mention that these 3 skills are also mentioned as the top 10 skills of 2025 according to the World Economic Forum, but also they are mentioned in all these other frameworks such as soft skills, 21st century skills, by UNICEF, by the OECD, by the World Bank, etc. So it was really important as universities to promote this as available standard, trying to evaluate the impact of design thinking on students. And we found that most of them were rather weak in terms of robustness. So we wanted to have this study based on these 3 and post-tests 3 times during the semester. And for the pilot, it was more or less a small sample size, but for the large studies, there was problem solving and creativity and teamwork. You see the numbers, there was the participation of 910 students, 600. Another thing that we wanted to try, it was to add a multi-actor perspective, since the research instruments that we found were mainly based on students' reflection, self-reported reflections. So we wanted to add a multi-actor perspective from students, like a self-assessment by the peers and by teachers. Okay, and we use a case study and rubrics. Most of the empirical studies that we found in the literature reported a positive impact, which was good, and I will show you what happened with our studies. So, well, this is like, if you want to explore a little bit more or in depth about this paper, I will show you at the end of each paper this QR, just in case you want to explore more. And I'm going to jump to the second main study, which was the one where we explore the impact of design thinking on problem solving and creativity skills of our first-year students. So, as I mentioned before, design thinking as is seen as an educational approach to develop the 21st century skills. Also, it has gained popularity in universities, among universities. But also, design thinking is linked to a constructivist learning theory. However, sometimes the linkage remains fuzzy. And in the constructivism and in design thinking, teachers are seen as facilitators. So you will see that I use the term teacher and facilitator, but it's because of this. It's because the role of the teacher is not like the sage on the stage, but it's rather a facilitator during the class. And in the paper, we also make this link and we try to explain how in depth, how the constructivist tenets align with the design thinking main characteristics. So this is briefly how the research design was done. We had this semester and we took data at T0, which was the first week of classes, in the middle and at the end. And we tested students in problem solving and creativity using a case study and rubrics, basically. And this was assessed by students themselves, peers, and facilitators. The result is that actually, our results supported our hypothesis. The students who participated in a design thinking course improved their problem skills according to the 3 raters: students, peers, and facilitators. And this was a significant improvement. Actually, there was not only an improvement overall, but also between the period slots. This means between T0 and T1, and also from T1 and T2. Similar conclusions we found from our hypothesis 2 that said students who participated in a design thinking course improved their creativity skills. So it was the same, it was significant improvement, and it was also significant in these time slots. This is the paper, again, if you want just to explore a little bit more about it. And the next study, the last one that I'm going to present you, is about teamwork. It was performed in the same semester that I just mentioned in this paper, but it was important for us to separate because problem solving and creativity in a way overlaps, but teamwork is like another thing. So this other study focused on the teamwork skills results of our students as a result of our design thinking course. Again, teamwork is one of the main characteristics of design thinking. Constructivism as well emphasizes the importance of engaging students through collaboration. And in this paper, for the theoretical framework, we also make the connection on how the Johnson & Johnson 5 conditions that make cooperative learning work in the classroom connects or aligns with our design intervention design, okay, including the techniques and tools. And also we found that a review made by Kozlowski and Ilhem about levers that enhance the effectiveness of teams were also aligned with our design thinking course in terms of teamwork. So this is, again, the research design. In this case, it was only data was collected 2 times at T1 in the middle of the semester and at the end, because at the beginning, of course, students don't know each other. Remember that the teams that are formed in the design thinking course remains the same during the whole semester. That's why this research design was useful for us. And again, students evaluated themselves, the peers, the teammates evaluated each of their mates, and also the facilitator evaluated each student. In this study, also, our hypothesis was supported. Students who participated in a design thinking intervention improved their teamwork skills during the semester. I mean, from the 3 perspectives: students themselves, peers, facilitators, and in this paper, we also used a combined score. Another research question that we put forward in this paper was if, based on literature, again, where female students apparently outperform male students when it comes to cooperative learning environments, we had this question about, will female students benefit more from design thinking intervention than male students in terms of teamwork skills? The short answer is yes, they did. And if you want to know more about these results and the analysis behind, again, you can also access to the paper that was published about this. Now, this is my last slide. These 3 papers that I just presented you has been developed in the last 4 years, but we are also working on more research about it. So the coming soon research papers are 2 that are in the oven. One is about a design thinking instructional paper. Another one is about mapping teaching strategies applied by design thinking facilitators. And for this last one, we recorded live classes from a sample of design thinking facilitators. So we, based on an extensive list of different behaviors that teachers can have during a class, we were like trying to map what are these teaching strategies that teachers are applying during the course. So basically that has been our work in terms of research, because for us it's also important to have this evidence from a scientific point of view. And that's all for us. Thank you very much for being here, and we are open to your comments, questions. We will be happy to help.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sharon, for the research insights you were sharing with us, and Isabel for the whole structure of your activities, and to Guido also for the introduction to how you're setting up design thinking at ESPOL at the I3 lab. Very, very interesting, and a broad approach. Now the floor is open. I actually ask all of you who have a functioning video camera to switch on your video camera and be a part of our discussion here. Maybe you have already some questions. I see some of you I don't see. Please either raise your hand in the video, or probably better raise your hand digitally. You know how that works with the reactions, and the reactions button downstairs down. You see that. There is Joanna. Hi, Joanna.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, actually, I learned a lot during this presentation, and I went to several GDTA presentation. I learned a lot in all of them, but this one was really interesting. And I was thinking actually, like, do you do some like, you know, the D-School where you train the trainers? Maybe you should also do something like that. I would be really interested to attend, to be honest. So, okay, so that was a comment, not a real question, but I thought that your way of doing on how to set up your kind of D-School was really great. So that's my comment. I'm sorry, there's no real question. And I think you should, like, maybe do some training the trainers also for people from outside your university.
Thanks, Johanna, for your comment. And we've been training the trainers and more locally within the university, and also we've been doing it within universities in Ecuador. But it's a good suggestion. So we don't have we have to prepare the whole thing in English. We don't have it yet, but thanks a lot for your comments and all the comments that I'm reading in the chat. Thanks a lot.
So, Joanna, it would be great, and all the others who have questions, if you do a short introduction, who you are. Some of you I know, but some of you I don't know. And where are you from? So, Joanna, would you?
Oh, so I'm from France, actually, and so I'm teaching also design thinking at TSEC Business School in Paris. And I'm also on the side design thinking consultant in freelance.
Yeah. Are you at Paris d'Est at the D-School?
No, in a business school. So,
yeah. Yeah, great to know. Then we have Narasimha. Yeah, great to see you.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, hello all. This is Narasimha Raju. I teach design thinking. So I'm from India, basically from Andhra Pradesh state. So I have one question, because one thing we don't do is finding the problems from the sponsors. So can you throw some light? How do you take care of sending your faculty or trainers to find the problems from the sponsors?
Sharon, I think you should take, or Isabel, you should take this one.
Yeah, sure. So one of the main challenges that we have as teachers before the semester kicks off definitely is finding our sponsors. So one of the resources that we have is our social capital. You know, so we go through our network and then we reach out to them, and also make sure that our weak ties also help out, so that maybe the person we know doesn't quite have the problem we need, but that person knows another person that actually has that problem. And then when we have new faculty coming into the team, we usually have like a senior teacher that guides them through knowing whether the problem is good or not. And during our trainings also, when we train our trainers, we make them go through the learning experience of our students, so they also receive a problem. And while they are working on this problem in their training, we talk about how to frame the problems, which scope is okay for our students, and what we have been doing in order to get the sponsors into jumping into our projects also. And with this, I have answered your question.
Let me add something, Nasima, about this. It's an ongoing issue also within the university. The fact that we not only need students to connect more with the the industry and the society, but also professors. And sometimes when you do things like this, you have some reaction because it's extra work. You have to connect. And you have to talk with industry companies, NGOs, and the whole thing. But at the end, it's good for the culture of the university. So it's sometimes it's a struggle that having a faculty do that, but we try to help the most we can. So I wanted to add that.
Yeah, that's great. And for how long you would get this sponsorship for? Is it for one semester, or how does it go? Like, because your course is for one semester, right? So will the sponsorship will be for one semester, or you elongate for?
There have been sponsors that work with us for longer. Even there have been several problems that we frame at this first year class that have been going through other classes in order to develop a wider prototype or the final product as well. So in our class, students go until the prototype phase. They give a mid-level prototype. And then from then on, the sponsor takes off to implement it. And we search the ways in which other classes or during capstone projects for graduating students, if we can help them doing that, like on that term to implement their solutions. That's also a challenge, and it's something we have been working on, but there are several sponsors that work with us more than once.
Yeah, that's a commendable work. I think you're doing a great job. A lot of things to learn from you. And you're assessing your outcome also. That is something which is quite efficient. Thank you. Thanks for your inputs.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Narashima. Maybe one short remark from my side. I've, through the past 15 years, while we were doing project-based learning with the D-School in Potsdam, I have witnessed a lot of professors who think connecting to the industry is some kind of, it's not the pure science, it's some kind of dirty science, somehow. And I found it is important to make the professor colleagues aware that there's no dirt in getting in contact with the industry, and also it's not only industry, it's actually, we are getting in touch with organizations, as probably you are doing in Ecuador as well, with other organizations, NGOs, and so. And it's always very inspiring because it brings the students right, it connects them to reality. It doesn't connect them to the ivory tower, but it connects them to the real life. And that is also important for some of our professor colleagues. So, but now there's Isabella Stranger from Chile. Hi, good to see you.
Hello. Yes, hello. So good to see you. First of all, congratulations, because this was an amazing presentation. Actually, I have a lot of notes, and I'm so glad to hear that you in Ecuador and we in Chile, we are in the same line. And I hope we can chat a little bit more. We already did that, but I would like to continue this conversation. And I would like to ask you, in this process of working with freshmen, they are new, they're just figuring things out, I guess. What do you think that is the most challenging aspect you had to address working with that profile of people?
Yes, hi Isabella. In this one, I will answer from not only from my experience, but also from what I have found in the literature. And apparently one of the most challenging things to teach this type of course is actually changing the mindset of our students that come Here in Ecuador, probably, I don't know in other contexts, but since I have found this in the literature, I think that it's also common in other places as well. It's this mindset from traditional teaching where the students are very used to sit on the classroom and receive all this knowledge from the teachers. And then they come to a first semester at the university and they are a little bit pushed to, to work in a different way, to be more autonomous, to actually they build their own knowledge, to experience, not anymore this, imagine this scenario and then you solve this problem, but now it's, you have to go outside the classroom and you have to actually get in touch with real people in real scenario that actually moves our students out from their comfort zone. And for them, it's, I think they struggle a little bit with that because they notice that that real people have real problems and these real problems are complex, that their schedules, that their way of communicating is different, that they have to think about the strategies, that they have to work very well as a team in order to be successful in this course. So I think that probably that is the most challenging for them as students, but also for us as teachers, because our role as facilitators to guide them, and not only with understanding and applying the methodology, but also to support them in order to say, it's okay to fail. They are like, what? It's okay to fail? What's that? That's something new for me. I come from a system where if I get something, the answer wrong, I will be punished. That is a bad thing. And to try to change that mindset and then say, fail fast, so you can learn fast, and you can, and it's okay if you fail because actually you're learning. I think that the whole thing is a challenge for students. It's also a challenge for us as facilitators to actually guide them in this new way of learning and teaching as well.
That actually, before I move over to Hanan, I have a question, Sharon, because we see the same thing, the same fear to fail, also with the students here in Germany, and they are also coming from different universities. How do you deal with that in terms of in the university, in terms of grading? We found at our place that since we don't individual grade students, that helps them to fail. That helps them actually to be open-minded and to do things which are at the end probably not at the first step not successful. But it was it was a decision to not grade individuals during the course. We just give them credit points because they are spending time, they're doing a lot, but we don't evaluate. Is that the same at your place?
Yeah, well, actually, and then also here, Isabel can also add something, but in our case, we have been also like prototyping and iterating our way of grading in terms of what we have been seeing, what works and not. For example, in our course, we don't take written exams like typical traditional exam. What is design thinking? No, I mean, the main output of this course is the project that the students work along the semester. And we have different ways of grading different aspects of the course. So for example, the students have this homework where they have to develop or apply some of the techniques and tools along the semester. So actually I think that our approach is more about doing the work rather than if it's correct at first one. I mean, in this course, I personally tell this to my students, this is not about how much I know about design thinking, but how I have worked on trying to solve this problem as a team. So actually, we also include this peers evaluation, and along the semester, we actually take information, ask students to evaluate their teammates 4 times during the semester, and that is part of the final grade of the students. Also for the project, we have an individual component, but also a team component. So we try to make it as fair and as transparent as possible, because that's also important for the students to feel that they are being graded fairly. And I think that actually that have been useful for us. It's not still a perfect structure, but I think it has helped us a lot. I don't know, Isabel, if you want to add something as well.
Just to build on, just to build on your train of thought, something that's important for us as instructors, as facilitators, is to create this psychological safe environment, you know, from this concept from Amy Edmondson, in which we allow students to be okay. And as Sharon said, we have been iterating in our course throughout the years. Now we have more time during class time for students to work on their project. And that's a time in which we are evaluating whether they are participating in their teams, but it's not graded into what the quality of work necessarily is in the classroom. And so as facilitators, we guide them into what they are doing. We make some questions that guide them into anticipating to some errors that could happen in the future, and allow them to also make their own questions in order to move forward. So that's something I wanted to add to what Sharon just said.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for answering my short question so intensively. Then I liked your kind of very subtle approach and try to experiment with that. I think it's a crucial point is really in a teamwork. If you want to have quality, high quality teamwork, it is really crucial to think of the individual grading or incentivation if you are in the company. But now Hernan Lopez Carre from Colombia, is it right?
Thank you very much. Oh, well, first of all, I joined the rest of the people who have clearly expressed their how excellent this presentation has been, and how much learning we can have from experiences like this one. So congratulations. My question is regarding the design thinking itself. I wonder, although you might have already answered this question, my question is, what are some of the main lessons you have learned regarding design thinking itself? I mean, we know the 5 steps of design thinking: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and testing. In any of these, or in various of these steps, you have learned some lessons that could teach us how to improve in any of these steps that you could share with us, or maybe you have already answered that question.
Well, I can give my takeaways. So I have let's say a very close relationship to design thinking, in the sense that I learned design thinking as a graduate student, and I wished I had learned it before. It helped me with my teamwork skills, my leadership skills, and overall to be a better student, and gave me a different perspective coming from an engineering background, and from the industrial and systems engineering background, in which everything is going step by step, and we have to check productivity, and we have to check how efficient we can be. This allow to fail, what's actually like a new thing to me in some sense. And so just looking into how more efficient some work systems can turn into when applying design thinking gave me a different perspective that I think enriches what I give my students in class. Because most of them are also from an engineering background, and maybe some of them also have this assumption that having one step, then the next, and the next, and doing the best from the first draft, it's the best way to do it, when actually sometimes, and I would say most of the times, having that iterative process actually give you more time to refine some solution, but in the end being more effective also. So my key learning from design thinking itself would be that iterative process, that divergent thinking that then has to converge to take some decisions at some point. It's complementing that efficiency perspective that I already had from the engineering background. So that will be from my side.
Yeah, and I think that also something that I have noticed, and probably that was the reason why I decided, because all this research that I just presented, it was part of my PhD that I finished last year, and I pursued this topic because at the beginning, the first time I taught this course, I could notice this development of our students' skills. So I sensed that there was something on it. And for me, that was like the main reason why I decided to do more research about it. And at the end, I want to also go to this question, L.J. Hickman, about evaluating the efficacy of the problem solutions. I mean, we collect data from our sponsors in the exit survey, and there are questions about how useful they found not only the final proposed solution, but also the insights they got from our students. And for me, what I have noticed is that in the final exam is this final presentation of the project in front of the sponsor and in front of the class. And for me, what is very valuable is see the sponsor's face when they start also saying, "Oh, that's quite interesting. I haven't thought about that in that way." So it's not only the final proposed solution, which could be helpful for them, but also the insights that the students are presenting to them, that it makes sense to them. And it's also like, oh, that's interesting, that's very nice. So I think that the whole experience for the students is really valuable. And also they are creating value, which is the mantra of i3 Lab also. They are creating value since they are freshmen. And I think that's also a boost for their confidence, saying, okay, as a freshman student, I can develop a solution for a real problem. And I was able to do it. And they see that these sponsors are also, most of the time, very happy with the results. So I think that also something very valuable from the course, that we are trying to connect them with the real world, and that has many benefits, both from university, but also from society itself.
Let me add a last thing, adding on what Sharon said. One thing is, it's not exactly about the methodology or the steps, but also about the mindset. It's hard. I think it's easier to teach design thinking when you are with a group of people that are interested or are already working on, or have some curiosity about design thinking. But in our case, it's a mandatory course. It's a compulsory course. Everyone has to take it. So that brings a challenge, because for some people is putting them out of the comfort zone. And since we are an entrepreneurship and innovation center, that fits our purpose. We want to do it, but it's not an easy task. I mean, you gotta